Hello, it's Chris here on my channel, and today is March the 4th of 2026. Yeah, it's time for another commentary video that I am going to discuss today. I will be doing another commentary video with Kawaiimation. Is actually last time we did a video on this thing, the whole situation with Paramount buying Warner Brothers thing. Yeah, since last week Paramount won the bid, and of course they chose Paramount over Netflix, and of course Paramount was the winner. So they had decided what the future is. They're going to combine, and what's going to happen to Paramount? What's they going to buy Warner Brothers? Well, they're going to combine all of HBO Max and Paramount Plus. They're going to gobble up into one big mega streaming platform, which I didn't have no clue if it was either a bad or a good, if it's a good idea or a bad idea. Well, you have to make the point. So, yeah, it was because with all due respect to David Ellison, the CEO of who runs it, Paramount, I believe, and he's gonna take over to get Warner Brothers because it is now fully controlled by Paramount. So, speaking of Paramount, we're going to be talking about this today as a commentary video. That's because we're going to do more on that at some point very soon. So, we're going to be doing a video, my own commentary video on, we have not done any of the commentary videos, like everything. I'm going to be reacting to this video yet. So, we're going to start off with that. We're going to thank, once again, to Kawaiimation for doing it from 4 months ago. Did a video on reviewing all the animated shows that aired on the Hub. Yes, because we'll have to get to that later, because what happened was recently the Discovery Family got rid of the Littlest Pet Shop, and that was like yesterday, I believe. They moved My Little Pony Friendship is Magic to some other time slot replacements. Yeah, because they had season one, had one season only show. They did not rerun it in actually other later seasons, or whatever you call this, later seasons or whatever. It's like a one season only thing. Yeah, they lost viewership, all of that. But I don't know what the future of Discovery Family is going to be, because now, thanks to Paramount acquiring Warner Brothers, and of course that the whole thing is just kind of a big drag channel, because it has no viewership or anything. So let's go back to the past. We know the Hub, that I've seen bits and pieces on the Hub, and I remember Family Game Night was the show that I remember watching that as like back in the day during its existence on the Hub. You know, Family Game Night was a great game show hosted by Todd Newton from Whammy. And there you go. I think other game shows they aired, as well as like they used to air. The Hub used to air Batman, the original 1966 Batman TV series, and yes, they used to air that a long time ago. It was on WPIX channel 11 back in the 80s, back in like the 70s and 80s, I believe. And then they brought it back in 89, following a huge success of the film. Starred Michael Keaton. And that's when, because Batman, the original 1966 television series, had made its return in 1989, following its hiatus. After the huge success of the movie. But we're going to give you one thing about this. So we're gonna go right into the video with Kawaiimation, where he discussed to review all the anime shows that aired on the Hub. I'm going to give our credit for this video, so we're going to talk about this right now. So sit back and enjoy.
Greetings, salutations, and hello there.
Oh yes, greetings and salutations. That's his introduction.
It has been a few days since, but the Hub has been 25, wait, 15, not 25, dummy. I'm
Yeah, it started in 2010 until they rebranded into Discovery Family. It went from being a good channel into a kind of a rerun mode channel. So,
Stupid. It has been 15 years old for a few days. So, with that being said, the Hub has brought us some really good shows and some not so good shows, but it has done a lot of things to be handled there. I gotta say that the Hub channel really got us a lot of good content here.
yeah, I think they got some good content back in when the Hub's first existence, when it premiered. If you want to see promos or something, there's actually a YouTube channel, I guess, which has not been done, which has been idle for until after the rebranding to Discovery Family. Yeah, if you want to see promos of some of the Hub stuff shows, yeah, you can check it out already.
I've got them all here right there with me. But the rules are, it has to be animation, and the second rule is no WB shows.
Yeah, I know there might be some Warner content in here. That was before, long before the whole Warner Bros. Discovery thing came out like decades later. Yes, they have Warner shows like maybe Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky and the Brain, and Batman in the Animated Series, and a few other shows and of course Animaniacs, the original one, not the 2020 reboot revival. And these are on the Hub. So, at any rate,
No, I know, no WB shows. But Kawaii, why couldn't you review the WB shows?
well, I'll have to get to that in a future video. We'll save that for another time. That all the Warner shows are on the Hub back in the day, so we'll save that for another video.
Well, I already reviewed Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures on the Nickelodeon one.
Yes, we know that they're on Tubi. Well, they're on Tubi. Well, Animaniacs is on Tubi. Tiny Toon Adventures is not even on Tubi yet, so they'll be announced later. They got all the Cartoon Network stuff are on, along with the rest of the actual Cartoon Network's back catalog of cartoon shows, as well as of classic Hanna-Barbera stuff. They're also on Tubi.
And plus, I don't want to be repetitive on it. So, without further ado, it's time I review every single show that aired on the Hub that was animated and is in the WB shows.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's very, very good, hopefully. So let's get right in there.
So, without further ado, let's get to this. 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. We have liftoff. 12 minutes past the hour. Well, I'm just trying to referring to the Apollo 11 crew. It was actually the command. It was the mission control stuff from 1969. You remember from July of 1969 when the Apollo 11 just lift off. Like 3, 2, 1, lift off. We have a lift off. 12 minutes past the hour. Okay, I can't figure out my top of my head that was the phrase that was done by mission control from the Apollo 11 mission back in 1969.
Now, the first series I can talk about is the most overrated series of them all. Like, oh my god, why do I have to talk about this?
Well, I know. I like the series, but I like all of generations, all 3 generations, well, all 4 generations of you know who.
Okay, here's the thing. I do not care about My Little Pony. I think it is just a thing that exists.
Well, to be honest, I enjoyed watching it, especially the all previous generations of My Little Pony, other different iterations, including Generation 1. Well, that's not even on the Hub, but especially focusing on Friendship is Magic, and of course, the third generation, But mostly, sometimes it was third generation. There was no My Little Ponytails on there, but yeah, you get the point.
And I don't care about My Little Brony. I have mixed thoughts on it. Because the show is just overrated.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people thought, some people thought that was years and years ago, back in when it first came out. Yeah, it's been there for 9 years, and of course, it had a fan base. It's got a phenomenal success. It was a huge success. You know, the animation that looked like the 1960s cartoons. Yes, let me see if I was trying to figure out the characters. It's because of, you know who, this one. Yeah, look at this. It's look like the characters that look like the 60s. It looks like it came out in 2010 and ended in 2019. Look at the character designs that look like it was from the 60s. You know, the 60s, is kind of like based on some animation inspired by some other characters, so other animation studios at the time, like UPA, Jay Ward, Jay Ward, Chuck Jones. There's like tons of animation that look like kind of a fluid animation that came out of anywhere. That was like they took inspired from the backgrounds. If you know the backgrounds of what we called Ponyville. All right, let's see. I know it's an overrated show, but I know he does not care about it. But I would agree on this. I would give props to this one. But let me see the backgrounds. See that? This looks like, see what the heck this thing looks like. Oh, here you go. This looks like reminds me of Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is like, you can see the backgrounds that look like this. This looks like the background looked like it was from the 60s. Yeah, the 1960s, 1970s, 1950s kind of animation that looked like it was from the 50s and 60s. That looks like the 50s already. This looks like, you can see the backgrounds and the whole thing that looked like it was from the 1960s. Was kind of like some sort of psychedelic era, or what is this? It's because of this styling and even lots of stylish that look like it came out of Dr. Seuss, and it looks like Dr. Seuss. If you may remember the Dr. Seuss specials, like from the 60s and 70s. Remember How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Green Eggs and Ham, and what was this some other cartoon type shows like this? No, the cartoon specials, or something like came out of nowhere. And there's like a boutique thing. There's actually some background. This is like the cloud swoopy backgrounds that look like it came out of what was this from? It looks like the 60s cartoons that look like Jay Ward, Total Television. Yeah, that's the same animation team behind Total Television was the one who did Tennessee Tuxedo and Underdog. You may remember from the 60s with Wally Cox, and then oh yes, that was Underdog was voiced by Wally Cox, and Tennessee Tuxedo was by Don Adams, who later played the role of Maxwell Smart in the TV sitcom Get Smart. I haven't watched Get Smart. I've heard of Get Smart, but if you ever watch the show, anyways, the background looks close to a 60s cartoon. Well, it looks close to be a Chuck Jones type era cartoon. It looked like Chuck Jones. All right. Enough said. These are just animation influence. This is why they influenced UPA and some other studios of the time. So I just want to understand why this is the better show. This is the iconic show. And throughout 2010 and even right into the entire decade, Yeah, everybody was in a brony phenomenon. They had concerts, they have dance parties, and some other stuff there. Yeah, everybody was in there. It was all over the country. We're become more of a fan base. It was sort of a fan base show. I mean, you want to go back. This goes back to the '80s. If you watch My Little Pony and Friends, that was one of the first series that came out of freaking nowhere in the '80s. And there was also My Little Pony the movie that came out 40 years ago. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. You get the point.
Like, everything about this show just doesn't make me hit on its story and how it has some moments. And it even had suffered through a seasonal rot, which makes me think that this show really wasn't the best, wasn't it?
Well, to my opinion, I know I respect your opinion, but I think it was the show was actually everybody loved the show, especially him. But some people didn't care about the show, or it was been overplayed. Yeah, it's probably they're all over this place. They have YouTube, Tubi, they're all running it. Yeah, they were running it. There's there are other places you can watch the show, YouTube and Tubi, and there's other places you can watch the show. There's also international dubs. That's right, international dubs. You can watch the version of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in many different languages. There are so many languages. There's one in Spanish. I always watch the dub. I watch Spanish dub. It's a phenomenal program. Yes, it's got some better voice actors who does speak Spanish. Originally was recorded and dubbed in Mexico, but not Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Ricans even love the show. See that right there? Puerto Ricans even love the show. I mean, that's right. Puerto Ricans love it. And then if you go to, there's also an Italian dub. Yeah, it was on. Look at other channels. If you want, we talked about the whole Paramount buying Warner thing. It's all about international channels that air My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It was on. Look at other places. Look at other channels they air on in other countries. Nickelodeon in Germany used to air that. That was during the 2010s. Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. used to air it internationally. There's also in Brazil, it was on TV Cultura, which I think is Rede Cultura, back in the 2010s. And that was also the Portuguese dub that was TV Cultura was based in Brazil. They ran the Portuguese dub. There's also Latin American Spanish dub is also on Discovery Kids, Latin America. But they used to carry it in a lot of people have got their channels there over in Miami. That's right, Miami actually carried this, had Discovery Kids Latin America over in Miami. And that's where they have Spanish show content on there. These are all Spanish dubs, including this right there is a Spanish dub. And it says mixed. Well, somebody put it in mixed. I think Koi did that as a mixed show. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's very well done. For my opinion, it would be amazing. Yes, the amazing show. We'll call that he put this out as mixed. I call it amazing. Look at other shows they have horse theme to it. Mr. Ed was a show that starred Alan Young as a trainer, as Wilbur. Yeah, that's right, Wilbur, and the talking horse named Mr. Ed. And there's also Little House on the Prairie with Michael Landon. That has horses in there. And there's also Bonanza. That also has horses in there. There's Gunsmoke. Also has horses in there. Yes, if you want to watch a Western, just go watch any Westerns or something. But not to watch this. If you're getting tired of watching this show, go watch some sort of horse program like Mr. Ed, Gunsmoke, and Little House on the Prairie. And that came out now. Yeah, Little House on the Prairie came out in the 70s, I believe. It was Michael Landon and Melissa Gilbert. Okay. So let's get this thing started.
Yeah, I can say that My Little Brony is just... I do not like it. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, I know if you don't like the show, then don't watch this program or something. Yes, if you don't like it, just don't bother to watch it. So, I know a lot of people, fans love the show. Yeah, people actually likes to listen to or watching them. Or it's got some musical numbers on the throughout the whole series. It's got musical numbers on there. Yeah, the musical numbers. It looks like coming out of a Broadway musical. I love musicals. I mean, musicals were very important. Look at other musicals like The Sound of Music or West Side Story or Annie or any other musicals type stuff like this. They have for movies. For starters, they have Saturday Night Fever. They have Grease. They have all this stuff. They have some musical numbers in here. But yeah, it's a phenomenal stuff. You can go out and watch. Just not like musical numbers actually did. Yeah, My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic had musical numbers even throughout the entire series. But it just like they did as some sort of a musical. It's like a TV series with some. It's like a musical show. It's not like a variety program or sorts. Yeah, it's like watching a variety program. Or they use skits from them. I mean, if you want to watch that, this is what you do.
I get it. A lot of you like this show, but I don't really like it. The show's kind of stupid on the characters, and there's even some mean-spirited episodes that I do not like. Like, putting your hoof down, that episode was just bad. Like...
Putting the hoof down, that's fine. I know if you don't like the episode, that's fine. If you want to skip it or watch something else.
Jeez. And back then when I was like a young kid, even then, I did not like MLPFIM.
Well, that's right. I know you didn't like that show, but I watched the show when I first watched it in 2021, just like 2 years after the series ended its run. Now they got the stuff with 15 AI or now 15 DEV or Heisei, whatever you call this. I know some people like it, some people don't. But if you want to, I know Eric Tote did a video of this. They use some AI voices or something if you like it or hate it, but that's fine. Well, anyways, at any rate, but it's like, yeah, I always do this stuff for reading a book, like doing some audio. Like I have some My Little Pony characters telling stories on reel-to-reel tape or cassette, like this one. Take a look at this. If you look at this, he's got old-time radio programs on them. It's got, if they have to squeeze in with the extra one, it gives you like one of the characters from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic tells a story of like either a Disney story or some like a fairy tale or some sort of a funny story came out of fanfiction.net, or that I had to get pulled from the fanfiction.net website, so I had to listen to it and enjoying it. This is a cassette tape. This is a cassette. The one I'm holding on to it. You can record. Yeah, it's got old radio shows on it, but it includes, and if there is not enough time, if there is none of the episodes on this tape, I have to squeeze in with you can squeeze in with a My Little Pony story time, where it tells a story. Fluttershy tells a story about Bambi, and then of course the other stories we feature other characters that tell stories. Well, it's like telling children's stories, or whatever you call it, children's hour. All right. Yeah, that's the good idea. I want to listen to it. I have seen these. I haven't posted any of these yet. So, anyways.
I know that Lauren Foss worked on it before she left to season 2.
Yes, Lauren Faust did that for the first 2 seasons. He left, and then Stephen Davis took over and continue on until the rest of the series until season 9.
But I know where a lot of people, a lot of those kids, they were like, oh, cool, did you see that newest episode of My Little Pony last morning? And I was like, no, I don't care about this show.
Well, I know you didn't like the show. Like I said, I know you didn't like the show. If you don't just either just don't watch it or avoid it while you can, or I can watch the show. Look, I watched episodes of the series. There were a lot of these have some moments, but there was some memorable songs, and a lot of the songs featured on the show were timeless. And yes, this day Aria was becoming more peak. Well, there's also the Smile song. There is also some other stuff there was on there. Or a True Friend. There's a lot of musical numbers on in throughout these episodes. Most of the episodes that you've seen throughout the entire series, it's got musical numbers. It's got some musical songs. They break into a musical number. Then you get to this actual storyline. Yes, it's basically a show. It's a true legendary program. Yes, the series is legendary. It's got a legendary status, but I would give that as an overload show. It's a driven program. It's been on for 9 years. Anyways.
Because, what I was into, right? Yeah, Transformers. I did not give a crap about My Little Brony.
All right. Yeah, Transformers. You're mentioning Transformers. Yes. Transformers, yeah. I used to watch back in the day when I was back in the 80s. They have Transformers, the original Transformers, the Generation 1 from like the 80s when it was on WPIX TV, Channel 11 in New York City. That was back in the 80s. I used to watch it in the afternoons when they aired Scooby-Doo. Yeah, they ran Scooby-Doo. They used to ran Tom and Jerry. They used to ran most of the shows. We'll get to that in a second here, and we'll get to the Transformers later. And then I used to watch it back in the day. I used to love that show. And then of course by the late 80s they have the original TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, that's a series they used to air it on Channel 11. Man, those are great shows. Back in the 80s, that was what a great time. Those were my childhood shows. I used to watch it back in the 1980s. I used to watch most of the episodes of My Little Pony and Friends, but they mixed in with other series like some other side series includes Potato Head Kids and the Moon Dreamers and Glow Friends. Those were the three programs. Those are the three cartoon segments they used on the show as part of My Little Pony and Friends. That was one of them. That's just let alone with My Little Pony, the original Generation 1. Okay, you get the point.
Or any of its things. Everything about My Little Pony, except maybe Equestria Girls, to me was just boring. And I don't give a crack.
Well, to be fair, I know the show. I know you don't like it. I know, like I said, you didn't like the boring shows like My Little Pony's boring show. Well, to me, I like the show, but no, I like the show, but I don't want to get any attitude to this one because this is my top pick of the show. It's a phenomenal pick. It's one of the last animated series that done in a traditional 60s style. That kind of like that goes back, that the cartoon itself that looked like it was done in the 60s. It's looked like it was taking place in the 1960s. It's like it's going back to the 60s era of My Little Pony. That My Little Pony doesn't even exist in the 60s. It came out in the 80s. The 60s, it looked like that. It's everywhere. It was everywhere. Like back in 1966, there was the Batman phenomenon. When Batman, the original Batman television series came on in 1966, it was a phenomenal hit. Star Trek first came out in 1966. It was a bigger hit. But when the series ended after 3 seasons, it was in reruns forever. You know, the original Star Trek the Star Trek TV series from the 60s. It looks pretty well done. It has been rerun forever. Yeah, and it's become a huge hit in syndication. So that was a big hit for that. For fans of the original Star Trek. I know that's right. Star Trek was the series that starred William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Well, no, that was the show from the 60s. And there's also The Honeymooners. Yeah, The Honeymooners was a great sitcom. It was one of the greatest TV sitcom ever that featured Jackie Gleason as Ralph Cramden and Audrey Meadows as Alice and Art Carney as Ed Norton. And yes, Joyce Randolph as Trixie. No, not the great and powerful Trixie. It's just Trixie from that's the other Trixie. But yeah, it was a pretty big show. It was all 39 episodes, what they dubbed as the Classic 39. All the 39 original episodes of Honeymooners are still there. It's become a huge hit, staple. WPIX aired it back then after the series ended on CBS since 1956 and 57. And of course, it has been in syndication forever. It's become one of the greatest TV sitcoms ever. Has become more of a legacy sitcom. It was because The Honeymooners was a pretty good show. I think I really recommend to watch I watched most of the episodes I watched many of them with Jackie Gleason, with Ralph Cramden. You know, Jackie Gleason as the Ralph Cramden. Yeah, Ralph Cramden. That's good. I don't know why you don't like My Little Pony, but always want to watch different programs or some stuff. Okay, I would not going to get into this one. Well, I have enough with. I'm tired of the My Little Pony thing. Okay.
Because My Little Pony, it just isn't my thing, man. I don't care about it. And whenever I see everything brony stuff related, it just makes me feel kind of uncomfortable right there. Man, but I can't believe that My Little Brony is also 15 years old.
Okay. There's right after Friendship is Magic, there's Pony Life. There is also, nobody watched Pony Life. There's also Make Your Mark and Tell Your Tale. That's Generation 5, and that's the worst generation ever. It's the 5th generation of My Little Pony. Yeah, it was what they called. In 2021, they did, what's it called? A New Generation. Well, that one's not really, that was meh. And there's also Make Your Mark and Tell Your Tale both were meh. I don't know. It was fine, but it uses some sort of CGI rather than hand-drawn animation. And of course, there you go. I really appreciate that, your help, because and then of course what's about Generation 6? Well, I don't know. I don't have nothing to say about it. All right. Okay, one thing to say about this, it's well,
and of course they're doing a celebration on it, because why wouldn't they? It's literally their big hit, and the only one that has a fan base. But with this, I can say that My Little Brony just isn't my thing right there.
All right, I know I've said it before, but yes, I mentioned it about a big hit, a phenomenal, a fan base. Yeah, I already talked about that one. Okay, just one final note on this thing, but if you don't like the show, there's another option you have to watch. Here it is. Strawberry Shortcake Berry in the Big City. This is better than My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. You can see that? There, right there. I know, Kawai, if you don't like the show, just watch this show. Just watch Strawberry Shortcake Berry in the Big City, and that's it. If you don't, just avoid My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Well, my opinion, I would expect my opinion, but I enjoyed this most of the episodes. I know there are some moments, but it's a pretty well produced show. And speaking of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, you can see look at the animation style that look like this. It kind of reminds me of Tales of the Wizard of Oz. It was from like the Return to Oz that was came out in this thing 1964. The styling that looked exactly like similar to My Little Pony. It became the inspiration for what the styling it came from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And there's also Tales of the Wizard of Oz was also another one that looked exactly like this. It was done. Both were like done by Rankin Bass. You can't believe Rankin Bass actually also did cartoons. They also the same production company that did the holiday specials, the Christmas specials, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, and the list goes on. Yeah, Frosty the Snowman looks exactly similar to what became the inspiration for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Was a sort of like Rankin Bass. It's kind of like it's got the Rankin Bass vibes. So you get the point.
I'm just not a My Little Pony person. I'm sorry. I just don't like it.
All right, I know. We always will. I always agree. I know you didn't like the show, but so you don't watch the show. Like I said, go watch Strawberry Shortcake, Berry in the Big City, and that's it. Just this is better. It's a much better show, and then My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. But well, the idea, yeah, I know a lot of these. It's simply the better way to watch. Yeah, I like horse shows, but better than what you expect. I can watch different horse shows or horse movies like National Velvet, any of the John Wayne movies. There you go.
Next up is Pound Puppies. And I gotta say that Pound Puppies is a good show. It's a really interesting thing. That this series, it reminds me of Recess. Instead of kids, you get dogs.
Oh yeah, I never watched Pound Puppies back the 2010 Pound Puppies reboots. I think if I recall, the original Pound Puppies that goes back 40 years ago. It was actually a Hanna-Barbera cartoon show. There it is. Yeah, I remember that show. I didn't watch the 2010 Pound Puppies, but this is the one I remember watching it as a kid. 40 years ago, it was aired on ABC back in 1986. Yes, there's also Pound Puppies. They had an anime series done by Hanna-Barbera. Well, there you go.
And the show is really impressive. Like, it has good voice talents. It has really good stories on life lessons. But this series itself is pretty impressive. For what I do like about Pound Puppies is how they bring in some more characters and how to give them exceptional dialogue and development. For what it is, I think that this series was great. It was way better than the old show, which the old show just existed. This series is well likable for so many reasons, and I can see why.
Yeah, the old series. Yeah, like I mentioned before, it was the old series. I would know. I remember when I was little, it was on ABC back in 1986. That was 40 years ago. It aired on ABC. Ran until 1988 for 2 seasons. It was done by, like I said, Hanna-Barbera.
It is a really impressive show that has the pups having them solve their
very different
problems, the dogs solving their problems, and how it would help those young puppies to be adopted, which is really nice and a really good addition to the series. So yeah, I could say that this show, it's a pretty good show, and I recommend it.
Yeah, if you want to watch here's my suggestion. Go on. Yeah, I highly recommend watch the original one if you're a fan of the original Pound Puppies. You can watch the original on. There's stuff like there's on YouTube. Yeah, if you're gonna watch it, there's half of the episodes. One of the episodes is almost complete. But if you want to see it's the series, half of the series, they're on YouTube. So if you're able to watch that, anyways.
I think it is available on Tubi, just like the other Hub shows.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. Yes, it's on there. And then also on YouTube as well.
So if you want to watch that, there's Tubi.
And of course, it's on a YouTube channel called Has TV Charm, if you have to check it out.
Next up is Strawberry Shortcake's Berry Bitty Adventures in... Oh, God. This show is just mediocre. I'm sorry. I do not like this show.
Well, I think like I said, the better show is Berry in the Big City. That's it. Or, I don't know if you want to watch anything but Strawberry Shortcake. The 2003 Strawberry Shortcake. Or the 1980s Strawberry Shortcake. Well, I was gonna do a little bit of a retrospect here. There's the original Strawberry Shortcake. You could watch the whole specials. The World of Strawberry Shortcake, or what's it called? Big Apple City, or the one which we called it Pets on Parade, right up to the Berrykins. And this is what the original Strawberry Shortcake. It came out in the 80s. Yeah, the Purple Pie Man, or the villain named Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak. Or Strawberry Shortcake and Her Friends. Here it is. They used to have dolls back in the day. Yeah, they have the classic Strawberry Shortcake dolls. Yeah, these are some stuff you can get, all these from back in the 1980s. Wait, they used to have a record play. They made... Oh, wait a minute. Wait, they made a record player? It was made by, what company is it? Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair made an official Strawberry Shortcake record player. It's a turntable. How cool was that? I never had one, but I never, ever, ever had one.
This show is just... Like, the reason why I love the 2003 series is not just because of how it has its female aim focus, but it's because it has such charm and such happiness to it.
Yeah, if you want to compare it to the 1980s Strawberry Shortcake specials, they have, you can see the whole specials here. Oh, wait, they have lunch boxes? They have a Strawberry Shortcake lunchbox? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Strawberry Shortcake had a lunchbox. And then there's one with a different, a different artwork with a different outfit. Yeah, it doesn't look representing to Strawberry Shortcake. There's the one with the Berrykins. I don't know what the Berrykins were. And there's one with the original design. Came out in the 80s. Got that.
And it has those music songs that were really good. And it has such wonderful animation by Deke Entertainment of all companies.
Yeah, it's actually Wild Brain. Get it?
Berry Bitty Adventures just made it girlish. And this goes to someone who actually likes female aim content.
Well, depending on which demographic you are, if you're a target female, it's definitely females. Mostly males, but yeah, it's just a whole family. Depending on which type of sex you are, like depending on every sex you think of is male, either male, female, or some were male, or some were guys. He doesn't want to get buying girl stuff. Well, that's some sort of a different gender. Depending on a different gender, well, if it's a mixed gender, that's right.
Because this series, they made it so generic and bland, and it's just, don't get me started on the animation. The animation of this is just so kind of dated. Yeah, there's no way that those designs would work on it. Now, I think it'll work better on 2D.
Well, yes, 2D, that's going back in the 80s. You know, you want to watch the whole Strawberry Shortcake specials, you know, there's stuff like back from 1980. There are the 6 Strawberry Shortcake specials you got to watch. There's one from the 1980s. That's a pretty good moment. It had some moments, but yeah, the Berry in the Big City was this Big Apple City. Not talking about Berry in the Big City. I'm talking about Big Apple City. Yeah, the Big Apple City was referring to New York City, was named the Big Apple. Okay.
And CGI. Because I think that would work better on 2D like those shorts. And Berry in the Big City proves that you can make a very better reboot on Strawberry Shortcake.
Yes, I agree with that. Berry in the Big City. I know you like Berry in the Big City, though. That's the one I would recommend, as I mentioned earlier in the video. In this, probably about 10 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago.
You can make a peak reboot with Berry in the Big City. And that is a big fact that this series is obviously a winner. But Berry Bitty Adventures was just not that good. And the voice acting was passable. But like I said, this show just feels generic. And it is nothing that impresses me that much on Strawberry Shortcake Berry Bitty Adventures compared to the masterful Berry in a Big City and already Break That Isn't Broken, Don't Break That Isn't Broken 2003 series.
Yeah, it was actually I never watched the 2003 series, but I think the 80s was the classiest. The 80s Strawberry Shortcake was the original. I don't know how they try to revive it a few times in 2003, 2010. Yes, the Berry Bitty Adventures was, well, yes. There's a fast channel. They had to air both the original. No, the World of Strawberry Shortcake fast channel. They aired nothing but Berry Bitty Adventures and the 2003 Strawberry Shortcake. It's on the World of Strawberry Shortcake channel, fast channel. It's on what is this? Pluto TV or Plex, whatever you want to check, or Sling TV or Freestream, whatever you will call it.
I can say that Berry Bitty Adventures is not the Strawberry Shortcake show I would recommend. I'm just saying. It's not a good. It's just not a really enjoyable series. Even when they try to do it, it just kind of fails at it. And that's what I think about Berry Bitty Adventures. It's just, no. Just not.
All right, I enough of that, but enough said. Yes, Berry in the Big City is the better show than Berry Bitty Adventures.
Oh, that's enough for that. Now I bet you the Chuck and Friends. And this show just exists. This show is just mediocre. Like, there's some life lessons here and there, but this show just wasn't that good.
Yeah, I never watched Chuck and Friends. I never watched the show. but I have to skip it.
I did not like the lessons of the series. They were just kind of off, and oh my god, I think it even got mean-spirited sometimes. Did it actually get a mean-spirited episode? Because every time I see the series, all I'm seeing is just anger and just madness.
I'm just
and I was like, people have been comparing freaking Little Brown Bear or freaking Little Llama or Little Princess when they haven't seen Chuck and Friends.
Yeah, Chuck and Friends. Like I said, I did not watch Chuck and Friends at all. I'm too modern to watch. I don't watch those other type of shows. I have to do is just skip the show over there. So I have to skip these, but I have to watch classic shows.
Daniel Tiger, like, why is Daniel Tiger getting hate? Like, why is he getting hate? When you see Chuck and Friends having some problems that preschool animated shows did have. The series itself really had its problems, and it can make you feel off about it.
All right, enough said. Let's skip that one. All right, moving on.
Next up, we get to continue with the Hubbub shows, because I'm going to put the Hubbub shows to continue them on. Why am I adding the Hubbub shows instead of the WB shows, you may ask? Well, simple. Because, well, they might as well deserve a spot in there because everything about the Hub was so special. Animal Mechanicals was alright, but it did confuse me about it because this show can be kind of off too.
Yeah, I don't watch the other stuff. Next, please. All right, I have to skip these other shows that I do not watch. I don't normally watch these other baby shows. So I was trying to go with the classic shows. So at any rate, we'll have to skip it right into this video and see what's in store for you.
Now it's time to review the others. Now you got G.I. Joe, which there's nothing that much to talk about. I mean, it's G.I. Joe. I mean, it's pretty good from what it is. But, the show is just G.I. Joe, and it's just your standard action series. And that's what it is.
Yeah, and like I said, G.I. Joe, I used to watch it on WPIX TV, Channel 11, back in the 80s, when I was, like I said earlier in the video, when I was a little kid. I used to watch it on a weekday afternoons, after coming home from school, when G.I. Joe was on television, Channel 11. So, it was on the Hub, but anyways, it's got some good stuff. But yes, the full series is on YouTube.
So, I mean, all I can say is that Chris Law did a great job voicing Cobra Commander. So, yeah. Next up,
yes. G.I. Joe was a pretty good show. I used to watch that back in the day. My brother used to have toys on that. And, yeah. It was a fun show. I used to watch it back in the 80s. When I was little, I used to watch that. And it was a very good one. And there was one of the best moments they had was the PSAs. Yes, they did pretty good with it. At the end of the show, they used to have PSAs. Yeah, if you want to go watch those other G.I. Joe PSAs, gotta watch it. Then Fensler Film did a lot parody the G.I. Joe PSAs. They did a parody of it. Yeah, that was funny. Anyways.
Skip the Fraggles. Now, I don't know if you're wondering, why are you reviewing Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, the show was originally first aired on HBO back in the 80s. And like I said, they had to do a classic Fraggle Rock program. It used to be on HBO back in the 80s. But then later aired on the Hub. In the 2010s, they used to air stuff from HBO.
Well, the thing is, first of all, it's puppetry, so it counts.
It was from the same guy who did the Muppets. You know, Jim Henson. That was the creator of Fraggle Rock, the series. It was actually done by Jim Henson Productions. It was actually the guy who does create the Muppets. Well, there you go. That's what they call it. The Muppets. Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, you name it. And yes, Fraggle Rock was another series from Jim Henson. I mean, one of Jim Henson's series. Oh yes, and if I remember the commercial back in the '80s when I was little, I remember the old Fraggle Rock commercial. They did the book club thing. Yes, I remember going back to my childhood was the commercial, like going back to the '80s and see what that is. And let's see if you have not seen the commercial. Let's take a look at it now.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
I love Fraggle Rock.
Chris, why don't you read something?
Do I have to?
Well, dinner's not ready for an hour.
But the Fraggles are really fun.
Center of the universe.
Now reading can be as enjoyable as watching Fraggle Rock on TV with a new Fraggle Rock Club. Jim Henson's family of Muppets make reading fun for your 3 to 7-year-old. Call now and get What's a Fraggle on approval for $3.95 plus delivery, a free book, and this Fraggle Rock record and tote bag. We'll send 2 books about every 6 weeks at $3.95 per book. You can cancel after 4 more shipments.
But Fraggles loves to read.
He's finally found books he really likes.
Discovering the Fraggle Rock Club is a terrific idea.
With free gifts, it pays to join the Fraggle Rock Club. Call 1-800-554-3838.
Yeah, that's what you call that, a commercial. I used to watch it back in the '80s, though. Yeah, get back to this Vin right there.
It's puppetry, so it counts. And second of all, it's a good show. It's a really good show. Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. It's the Fraggles. You can't go wrong about the Fraggles. They came back on Apple TV Plus, or which is now apparently known as Apple TV or whatever it is. But it was a really good show. It has some very likable characters. The music was great.
Yeah, the music was pretty well done. They also put out a record album back in the '80s. If you want to. Yeah, they have a record. Yeah, Fraggle Rock did a record album back in the '80s. If you may remember that. They put out a record album, too. The TV soundtrack to... Yeah, they put out a TV soundtrack to Fraggle Rock, too. Yeah, they did 2 albums. I don't know how long it's been around since. I have to look on Discogs for a second. There it is. There's the Fraggle Rock album. It says Jim Henson's Muppet Presents Fraggle Rock. That's the record album on Muppet Music Records. And then there's also, well, we're talking about the Fraggles. Yeah, there was Muppet Music Records. And of course, the 45 called The Theme from Fraggle Rock was also in there. Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock. And there's a bunch of other ones that you cannot get into this.
The plot lines are pretty fun. The theme song is obviously an eye-catching and a catchy song.
Yeah, we talked about that in a commercial. Yeah, when you start the commercial. Yes, I knew that was actually came out of the commercial. Where, yes, when you watch the last few... Yeah, the theme song, you have the last few seconds of the theme song opens up in a commercial. And when you start off the television, after they turn off the television, saying, I love Fraggle Rock. And the mother was saying, why don't you read something? But dinner is supposed to be ready. But the Fraggles are off and the television screen just flashing out. And the books was flying out of the TV screen. It looked like something coming out of a 3D. Actually, the book is like a flying book that kind of... all that stuff. Man, like I said, that brings back some memories there.
It's really good. And I can say that the Fraggles really deserve to top it out spots. Because this series is obviously a very special thing that the Hub did. They got a Jim Henson series. And that was a really big plus when they got Fraggle Rock before HBO aired it. Because this was a good addition to the Hub, and this series was really special in its own cases. So yeah, the Fraggles, it's easily a great show.
Well, I'll have to go back and rewatch some stuff, but I haven't watched that in like ages though. But we'll have to figure out a better way to watch Fraggle Rock when it was on HBO. Yes, I remember when it was on HBO, but it was on the Hub later on. But it was a really fundamental show. I'll have to check it out on Apple TV. I know. I'll have to see if I can think about that.
And that's what I think of it. Next up, you get Atomic Betty.
Alright, I have to skip. I have to stop this video right away because we're in under an hour right now. So I'm going to stop this video right now because I'm not going to have it being too long for this video to air it. Because, yeah, I'm going to plan on doing another part 2 of my commentary on the Kawaiimations of reviewing all the anime shows that aired on the Hub. It will be my commentary for the next video. Will be part 2. So, anyways, if you enjoy this video, please leave a comment below, like and subscribe. We'll catch you then in the next video. This is Chris, and we'll see you in the next video.